I'm Andy Murphy, Methodist minister and part of the ministry team at St Giles. My family and I love to go to Hunstanton in Norfolk. In fact, that's what these photos are behind me. If you've never been, it's a small traditional English seaside town with beautiful cliffs and beaches and wonderful fish and chips. It overlooks the Wash, and although it's on the east of England, the coastline uniquely faces west. So evenings there get their share of some amazing and beautiful sunsets. And when the tide's going out, it goes out quite a long way, leaving warm, shallow water to paddle in for hundreds of metres. It can be deceptive. Sometimes it can look like people are walking on the water quite a long way out, when really the sand is right beneath their feet. And this always reminds me of the gospel story where Jesus walks on water. Except in that story, the water was certainly not shallow. We can read the fullest version of that story in Matthew chapter 14, beginning at verse 22. It's a story of faith, a stormy story, but also a story about rest and peace. Jesus was recovering from a very busy day. He'd been preaching all day to thousands of people the day before, and he'd fed them famously with just 5 small loaves and a couple of fish. While he sent the disciples on ahead of him in the boat, he went up into the hills by himself to rest and pray at the end of the day. It was important to recharge his batteries, both physically and spiritually. But as it often did, the lake, the Sea of Galilee, grew stormy that night, and the disciples in the boat were getting battered. Not quite like the fish in a Hunstanton restaurant. But Jesus waited until the early hours of the morning, as the sun was rising, while the winds were still strong, and there they saw him, walking on the water. This was no shallow tide. They were in deep water. Their first instinct was that it must be a ghost, or they must be seeing things, and they were afraid. But Jesus put their minds at rest. He spoke to them. "Take heart," he said. "Have courage. Do not be afraid." He said, "It's me," or more accurately, "I am." So Peter answered back, "If it's you, Lord, order me to come out to you." And Jesus invited him. "Come," he said. There would still have been some distance between Jesus and the boat when Peter obeyed. When he stepped out of the boat on the top of the water, doing the seemingly impossible, but sure enough, Peter did it. He started walking towards Jesus on the water. We don't know how many steps he took, but before long, he started to notice the wind and the storm again and started to take his eyes off Jesus. And that's when his feet gave way and he plunged under the water. As he went down, he just had the time to cry out, "Lord, save me." And Jesus did. He reached his hand out and caught him. When it was all over, the disciples worshipped Jesus. Truly, this was the Son of God. It was a moment of realization for them, a moment of awe and wonder, which turned into a time of praise. But Jesus had said to Peter, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" And we can easily hear this as a firm criticism, a harsh rebuke, or maybe we can see the twinkle in Jesus' eyes. Imagine his smile. Imagine the laughter as he caught Peter, and his joy that Peter had taken those steps, like a parent catching a toddler walking for the first time. Peter did well. Just because he stumbled, just because he took his eyes off for a second and dared to wonder at it all, he did it. He followed Jesus' call. He stepped out in faith, while the others sat dumbstruck in the boat. You might choose to see Peter's failure. But surely God chooses to see that he tried, that he did trust, and he just needed to learn to trust a little more, which he would. When we become followers or disciples of Jesus, yes, we have to count the cost. We have to know that in some way it will take all we have to give. But let's not be put off by the prospect of failure. Failure is a human word. God surely sees it as an opportunity for improvement, or for growth, or for learning to trust. It's better to get out of the boat and stumble than never to take those first steps. One of the managers at the World Cup said, "We don't lose, we win or we learn." Football managers can be great philosophers, but I think someone else had maybe said that first. And perhaps the other message here is about rest. It's about peace. There will always be storms around us. Many of us will want to wait till the storm is past, till we've done all we possibly can before we relax or rest or worship or trust. Instead, can we choose to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus despite the wind and the waves, and there find his peace every step of the way? God bless you.